Is anybody else still recovering from Harlow weekend? Because your girl is rough. Hello everyone, it's Belle. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, hello, and if you've come back, thank you so much. Today we're doing a really fun video, which is going to be the start of some wrap-up material, I guess, for this year. Today we are going to be talking about the 10 books that I want to read before the end of the year, so my 10 before the end. I feel like I've been seeing this go around in the last week or so, and I wanted to jump on because I thought what a fun way to A, tell you guys what I really want to prioritize before the end of this year, but B, to help me keep myself accountable, and you guys can also keep me accountable. If you've been around for the last couple of months, you know the reading slump has been hitting hard. However, I have curated a stack of 10 books next to me here that I need to read, whether they have literally just been like yelled at me to read, or like I've been itching to read but haven't got around to yet, or they're new releases that I've been waiting to read sometime this year. It's basically a nice big stack of a lot of different genres. Yeah, it's just books that I really would like to read before this year is through. So I'm gonna stop yapping. You guys know the drill. Let's get comfy, let's get cozy, and let's get right on into this video. All right, I didn't take a thumbnail. Let's take it now. Anyways, like I said, I've got a nice big stack of 10 books in front of me here. The first one that I'm going to talk about is actually one that has not released yet, but it is releasing this month and I'm so excited. I think this is my only new release that hasn't come out yet that's on this list. It is Brimstone by Callie Hart. Now, this is obviously the second book, and I would like to say this is called the Fae and Alchemy series. For those who don't know, Quicksilver was obviously the first book in this series, came out last year, and I could not believe how much I ended up loving this story and this world. For those who don't know what Quicksilver is about, it's basically about this girl called Ceres, and she like has a run-in with the Prince of like Death or whatever. He's a fairy. He like takes her into the Fae realm. Things get really fun and exciting from there. I just had so much fun. I really liked that Kingfisher was a very different male main character that I had seen from, you know, romanticies that I'd read last year, and I just love Carrion so much, which is why I'm so excited for Brimstone, because when I found out that the concept of this was going to be like almost like a road trip, you know, bros road trip between Carrion and Kingfisher, I just know it is going to be so good. Carrion is honestly one of my favorite characters that I've ever read about. He is so funny. Like, I love a comedic side character, but he might be my favorite. I really truly do. He was just so much fun. This one comes out on the 18th of November, so in a couple of weeks time. I'm so excited. I will 100% be prioritizing this one. I know myself and half of the world is really excited. I feel like this is on par to, I mean, not like Onyx Storm, but I feel like it's a big romantic release that a lot of people are very highly anticipating. So that is my first one on the list. Up next, I have Caught Up. This is by Navessa Allen, which is book 2 in the Into the Darkness series. So book 1 was Lights Out. I read that earlier this year, and I think this only came out maybe a couple of months ago, and I just have not had a chance to get around to it yet, but I've heard such good things. Obviously, Lights Out was like the comedic dark romance that just like took the world by storm. I could not believe how well she blended comedic elements with the dark romance while still keeping the same feel of a dark romance. I feel like sometimes things can be marketed as a dark romance and they're really just not. They're just like, you know, like a heavy romance or what have you, but it was so clever. And I remember reading that book and just like highlighting all the funny lines. Like, usually that is not what I highlight and what I annotate, which is kind of hilarious. So I'm very excited. I was actually surprised when I found out that book 2 was going to be, you know, the start of an interconnected standalone series, because I really felt like by the way Lights Out finished, that the story wasn't finished. Does that make sense? If you guys have read the book, you'll probably understand what I'm trying to get at. I feel like we got to an ending, but the conflict that happened at the end of the book, I don't feel like it was fully resolved. Like, I don't think we were fully done with it. So whether or not that makes a reappearance with this couple, you know, and the first couple, like, who knows? That very well might be the case. I would love to listen to this one on audio. I think that could be really, really fun, because obviously the first audiobook was just incredible. So it's actually quite short. I didn't realize how short it was. It's like 330 pages. So this is something that, like, if I had nothing to do, I could probably sit down and finish in a day, which is really fun, really exciting. So that is that one there. Next up is actually another new release, which has only just come out and I was very kindly sent by Hachette. It is The Defender by Anna Huang, which is the second book in, I think this is the Gods of the Game. Yes, Gods of the Game series. The first one being The Striker. It's actually hilarious that so far all of these are like book 2 in a series. I know that when The Striker came out last year, there was a lot of mixed and varied opinions on it. Some people did not like it at all, but I was one of the people that actually really loved it. I don't know what happened. I feel like maybe it was like the perfect book to pull me out of a slump, but I hadn't read in so long. I then picked that up and I read it in a day. And for me to read a 500-page book in a day, I don't know what I was on. It was absolutely nuts. So I really enjoyed that book, and I just really enjoy Anna Huang's writing, especially her newer writing. You can tell that she has matured a lot and she's really found her groove and her niche of what works, even if that is in a billionaire aspect or a, you know, sports romance aspect. Like, she's so solid in what works for her now that I just really enjoy all of her books. This is book 2, which I believe is about Scarlett's brother from the first one. And he is obviously, like, if you know the concept of The Striker, our main character, Asher Donovan, it's his rival. So it was his, like, rival's sister. That was the trope of the first one. This book follows the rival. Oh, there's a little picture. How cute. I love that. Ooh. He has to play by the rules, but for her, he'd break them all. It says, as the captain of Black Castle football team, one of the highest paid athletes in the game, Vincent Dubois should be on top of the world. But when his fame brings danger to his doorstep, he finds himself in his worst nightmare scenario, secretly sharing a flat with his coach's daughter. Oh, is this going to give me my right move crumbs? I think it's going to give me my right move crumbs, knowing full well she's far too big a temptation for him to resist. When his new living arrangements escalate into a bet that throws them even closer together, he realizes he's in deeper trouble than he thought. He's always played to win, but for her, he might just risk it all. I fear this is gonna eat. I fear this is gonna eat. Why is this actually going to give me my right move crumbs? I really feel like, oh, I just saw the title of the next book. Anyways, that is that one there. I should have read you the synopsis of Caught Up, but it's fine. It's a dark romance. You catch the drift. Next up, I have a book that I had never seen before I saw it in the store, but I feel like I've also just never seen anybody talk about it or show it before, but I just think it is going to be gorgeous. This book is called Run Away With Me. It is by Brian Selznick. I bought this earlier this year. I think I did a video where I was like, TBR prompts choose the books that I buy or something like that. And I found this in the YA section. You guys do know I love an MM romance. Now, from what I remember, this is set in Rome. Just look at that cover. It is so beautiful. Like, there's like the map inside. And then I don't know if you guys can see the spine there. There's like these blacked out pages. And I was like, what is that, guys? The first couple of pages, like, and I say couple, but there's heaps, are all these beautiful photos. Like, what? Be so serious. Anyways, let me read you the synopsis. It says, he reached his hand towards me and said, I have so many things to show you. Danny is 16 and spending his summer in Rome. As his mother works all day in a museum dedicated to the preservation of books, he wanders the city's ancient, lonely streets, not really sure what he's looking for, until a voice calls to him and a strange, beautiful boy steps into his life, Angelo. Soon, Danny and Angelo are spending all their time together. Danny has never felt anything like this. The electricity of attraction, the fear of abandonment, the sweetness of belonging. He's in love for the first time, but he's also painfully aware that when the summer ends, he'll have to return to America. In the meantime, Angelo, who seems to know all of Rome's twisting corners and hidden histories, delights in sharing its sights and secrets, even as he holds his own secrets out of Danny's reach. I just think it's going to be such a sweet book, very reminiscent of something like Aristotle and Dante. So I cannot wait to read this one. I think it is going to be just like a book that potentially could ruin my life. Like, look at the photos, guys. Be so for real. Okay, next up is one that I've been so excited to read, but again, I just haven't got around to it, but I need to by the end of this year. It is Terror at the Gates by Scarlett St. Clair. I was actually sent this in July. That's how long ago it was, which is so sad. I have been wanting to read this for such a long time. I've since seen such incredible reviews about this book and I just cannot wait. This will be my first book that I have read by Scarlett St. Clair, so I'm very intrigued. So let's read the back together. It says, I would go to war for you. Estranged from her powerful family, Lilith finds refuge in Nevaeh, a district in the city of Eden devoted to sin. There, she uses her magic to steal for a living, attracting the attention of the fire governing families as well as the church, which expects women to remain pious and silent. When Lilith comes into possession of a beautiful blade, she thinks all her worries are over until her usual buyer dies whilst inspecting it. Frantic, Lilith returns to the only man who can help her. Oh my gosh, I don't even know how I'm gonna say this man's name. Zariev, the head of the Zareth family and ruler of Nevaeh. Guys, why are we making things so hard to spell? I'm just a girl. His currency is information and his power is extortion, though he's always had a soft spot for Lilith. But when the dagger appears, he isn't sure he can protect her from what's to come. Together they embark on a mission to discover the true power of running their world. As their lives intertwine, Lilith realizes, I'm gonna call him Z, is more than just a friend, but their devotion to each other is a threat to the truth, to the church, and to those who want to tear it all down. I remember like the PR package that I got of this, it was really pretty. There was so much cool art in there too. I'm very excited to see where it goes. Again, guys, we need to stop with these really tricky names. And if you're gonna do tricky name, pronunciation guide. Claps and snaps already, because literally I was like, we need to put pronunciation guides back in the books. Thank God we have. So his name is Zaharev. There we go, Zaharev. Apologies. Thank God. Thank you, Scarlett St. Clair. You have just got brownie points because you actually put pronunciation guide. Bring it back, guys. I'm being so serious. Bring back pronunciation guides in romantasy specifically. Okay, next up we have a little bit of an emotional romance, and we have The Last Letter. This is by Rebecca Yarros. I read The Things We Leave Unfinished probably 4 months ago now, and I loved it. Obviously, I've read, Fourth Wing and what have you, but I've been wanting to get into her romance books because I know that she is a romance author first. So I wanted to see, I guess, if her, consistency as a writer could translate across genres, and it definitely did. I loved that book. And so many of you guys, since I read that, have told me that this book is even sadder. So I'm like, don't even know what I'm getting myself into, but I know that I want to read it so badly. I believe this is again set in like potentially around the war, World War II type of vibes. I think it's like this guy dies in the war and his last little note he writes to his best friend is, go home and look after my sister. She's got twins, or something like that. Let me read the back. One final letter, his last wish. Go and be with her. Beckett, if you're reading this, well, you know the last letter drill. You made it. I didn't. Get off the guilt train, because I know if there was any chance you could have saved me, you would have. I need one thing from you. Get out of the army and get to Tellaride. My little sister Ella's raising twins alone. She's too independent and won't accept help easily, but she has lost our grandmother, our parents, and now me. It's far too much for anyone to endure, and it's not fair. So if I'm gone, that means I can't be there for Ella. I can't help them through this, but you can. So I'm begging you, as my best friend, go and take care of my sister, my family. Please don't make her go through it alone, Ryan. Why am I literally gonna cry? Why am I literally gonna cry? I fear this book's gonna ruin my life. I fear it's actually gonna ruin my life. Oh my God. Can two broken souls help each other heal? Okay, Rebecca Yarros, she's coming for my throat. She is coming for my throat. Anyways, that is that one there. I actually kind of want to start this like now. I feel like I'm in the mood for a really good cry. Alrighty, next up is a book that I know I have to read a book before it to get to it, but this is like a must. I must read this before the end of the year because I've been dying to read it. It is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. Now, if you guys didn't see, we are actually reading Part of Your World as part of my book club this month. If you'd like to join, there'll be information in the description box, because I do want to kickstart this journey because I do need to read this before the end of the year. I've heard good things about Part of Your World, but I've heard incredible things about Yours Truly. I have heard that you're supposed to read them together, that you don't have to read them together, that you can read them out of order, all different things, but I would like to read them in publication order because I have heard that there are tiny overlaps with characters, what have you. I know that I could start this if I wanted to, but I want to sort of just do it how I want to do it. Now, funny story about this, about a year ago, I actually started listening to this on audiobook and I was enjoying it so much. I probably only got a couple of chapters in and then realized obviously that Part of Your World is supposed to come first, so I stopped. But the concept of this is so good. I literally can't wait to tell you guys if you haven't heard of it before. It is about two people who work work in the same hospital, I believe, and from my memory, her brother needs like a liver transplant or a kidney transplant or something like that, and he ends up having like the perfect match or something like that. I think that is the concept, but let me read you the back. It says, a novel of terrible first impressions, hilarious second chances, and the joy in finding the perfect match. Dr. Brianna's life is seriously flatlining. Her divorce is about to be finalized, her brother's running out of time to find a kidney donor, and that promotion she wants, oh, that's probably going to the new man doctor who's already registering 87 on Brianna's pain in my butt scale. But when all of her systems are set to hate, Dr. Jacob completely flicks the game by sending Brianna a letter. It's a really good letter, like the kind that proves that Jacob isn't actually Satan. Worse, he might be this fantastically funny and subversely likable guy who's terrible at first impressions, because suddenly he and Bri are exchanging notes and sharing lunch dates in her sob closet. When Jacob turns out to be the perfect donor for her brother, Bri starts to realize that this quietly sexy new doctor might just be her perfect match too. I remember, honestly, just even the first couple of chapters of this is so good because they do get off on the wrong foot. It starts off on one of those really bad like meet cutes, and she's like, I can't stand this guy, he's awful, blah 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 blah, and then he is actually like just, I think he has some sort of anxiety disorder as well, which is what I'm really excited to read about, with anxiety representation in this one here. So yeah, I really just do need to get through Part of Your World. There might be a cheeky reading vlog coming in the next week. You'll see. I'm not gonna spoil it, but I'm excited for you guys to see it. Next up, we have Holiday Ever After. This is by Hannah Grace. This is an ARC, so I do not have the beautiful cover, but the cover looks like this. This is now out. This came out at the end of September, and I do want to save this one for Christmas time. Obviously, very grateful to have the ARC, but I do want to be in the holiday mood. And guys, I have been defrosting, okay? I have been defrosting. I took my bed sheets off. You can see there's nothing on here. I've taken my bed sheets off so that I can put my Christmas sheets on here as part of a Bookmas video. So sorry guys, make sure you subscribe for Bookmas. That's going to be in a Bookmas video. So yeah, anyways, you've got to be in the vibe. You've got to be in the mood to read a Christmas book. So I do want to read this so badly, but of course it needs to happen during Christmas time. Is there a synopsis on this? There is. Okay, are we ready? Let's go. It says, all Clara Davenport has ever wanted to do is climb the ladder at Davenport Innovation Creative, her family's toy business. So cute. Guys, I'm so excited. Everything was going according to plan until the company was accused of stealing a doll design from an independent toy maker, creating a flurry of bad publicity. With a promotion dangled in front of her like a carrot to a reindeer, Clara is tasked with charming the locals of the town to solve the PR nightmare by any means necessary. Jack Kelly would be happy to never hear the name Davenport ever again. Less than a year after a guy in a fancy suit appeared on his doorstep with a sleigh full of promises, the company that once falsely claimed they wanted to sign him to their small business program has copied his design. So when Clara prances into town hoping to convince Fraser Falls that her company is not the enemy, Jack is determined not to be fooled by Davenport twice. But Clara has a plan to win over the community, only to realize that beneath Jack's frosty demeanor lies the key to the town's heart and maybe her own. I love it. Rivals, business rivals. Guys, that's so cute. I feel like I've yet to read a Christmas book where there is like a toy store involved. I love Christmas books. I was really disappointed by Daydream, but I have loved every other book by Hannah Grace so far. I gave both Icebreaker and Wildfire 5 stars, so I'm hoping that this one sort of renews my love for her and her writing. Also with Christmas books as well, and it's any sort of Hallmark, even if it's like a fall book or what have you, sometimes it can toe the line of being too cringe. So I'm hoping that this one stays nicely on the side of not too cringe and still like very overly romantic. I like that this is probably not going to be insta love considering the size of it. So I think, yeah, it's going to be a really interesting one. Oh, I just saw that they're watching Die Hard. Yeah, this is going to be a good book. Okay, next up I have a thriller. This might be my only thriller on this list. It is called Wrong Place, Wrong Time. This is by Gillian McAllister. I feel like I have like shown this book to so many people and the cover is like pretty bland and pretty boring. And then when I tell them the concept, they are so gagged. I think I saw Francesca, if you guys know Francesca, our lovely UK thriller bestie. She recommended this in one of her videos and she said it was like one of her favorite books that she had read so far this year. So I like immediately grabbed it after I heard her tell the synopsis. I'm sure you're waiting for the synopsis, so let me tell you. This says, it's late, you're waiting up for your son. Then you spot him, he's with someone, and you can't believe what you see. Your funny, happy teenage boy stabs this stranger. You don't know who, you don't know why, you only know your son is charged with murder and his future is lost. That night you fall asleep in despair, but when you wake, It is yesterday, the day before the murder. Somewhere in the past lies the answers, a reason for this crime, and your only chance to stop it. I was so gagged. That is so cool. She basically sees her son murder someone outside on the street, whatever. She goes to bed, she's in despair, he gets charged for murder, whatever. She wakes up the next day and it's the day before the murder takes place. So it's almost like it's that butterfly effect of, can she go back in time and stop the events, you know, from happening that led her son to kill this person. I just think it is going to be so cool. I can't wait to read this book, you guys. It just sucks I'm in such a reading slump right now because there are so many good books. I'm even looking at my like November TBR that I created and I'm like, dang it, like I know all those books are so good, but I want to just be keen to read all the time and it can be so hard to do so. But this one literally says, like, there's an endorsement from Lisa Jewell. It says, a masterpiece, one of the best books I've ever read. Okay. And finally, a beautiful special edition book that I cannot wait to get my hands on, and I just think it's going to be so cute. Also perfect to read during Christmas time because I think it's set in the winter. It is Wings of Starlight. This is by Alison Saft. For those who don't know, this is like an origin story for the Pixie Hollow fairies. I believe this is about the queen, and it just looks so, look at the guys, look at the blue sprayed edges. I loved this world and this universe when I was a kid, and to hear that there has been like a full book written about the origin story of, you know, the Queen Clarion, I am just very excited. So I'll read you guys the back. It says, before she was the queen of Pixie Hollow, she was a young fairy who had to choose between duty and her heart. It's been centuries since a warm season fairy has crossed into the winter woods, and whilst most fear the legends of monsters lurking into the frozen lands, Clarion can't help but be intrigued by winter's stoic beauty. However, under the watchful eyes of the current monarch and the court's seasonal ministers, Clarion has little time to dwell on daydreams while the days to her coronation dwindle away. That is, until reports of a monster crossing from winter into spring make their way to the palace. Clarion sees defeating this threat as an opportunity to prove she is worthy of her new role. But instead of finding a monster at the edge of winter, she finds Milori, a young guardian of the winter woods. Together, they form an unlikely bond as they race to save their lands. As their alliance warms to something more, they will discover there is a reason a warm season fairy and a winter fairy must not be together, and the cost could be just as deadly as the monsters that prowl the winter woods. No! I'm so excited. I fear I am so excited. I love a forbidden romance. I love a forbidden romance. A fairy romance, like literally be so for real. Literally be so for real. I'm gonna be so annoying. I cannot wait. Alright, you guys, that is my 10 before the end. Alrighty guys, that is all for today's video. Thank you so much for sticking through all the way to the end. If you did, I really, really appreciate it. I would love to know what your 10 before the end is, or even your top 3, like 3 books that you really, really, really want to read or need to read before the end of the year. These ones here, I just think they are priorities. I think I will have some time to get through them in the next 2 months, which will be really nice. I might even do a video at the end of December, just checking in to see how many of these I actually got to, because I think that could be really cool to double check with. As always, if you guys aren't already, you're more than welcome to follow me on my socials. I'll leave my handles on the screen and in the description box. And if you'd like to, you can like this video and subscribe to my channel, and make sure that you are hitting that notification bell, that way you're notified each time a brand new video goes up. Thank you guys so much for stopping by again. I really do appreciate it. Wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having a lovely day or a lovely night, and I will see you all next time. Bye!